Hello and welcome. Thank you very much for being here today. My name is Gavin. Got to turn my headphones down just a little bit. Hey, if you're into true crime, you like to skip past the fluff and sensationalism, you found the right channel most of the time. Sometimes we do fluff and sensationalism, but normally we get into the nitty gritty. And the nitty gritty is what we're getting into tonight, continuing our coverage of the murder of Judge Kevin Mullins. Now, the story here is that on September 19th of last year, Judge Mullins' friend and the sheriff in his town, the former co-workers, the sheriff was once his deputy, man named Mickey Stines, shot and killed the judge. This is not, there's no question as to who killed Judge Mullins, but there are questions as to why Judge Mullins was killed and if the killing of Judge Mullins is murder. You guys remember I talked with attorney Ned Pillersdorf, who is representing two clients in a federal civil rights lawsuit against Ben Fields, and who was once a deputy of Mickey Stines, and Sheriff Mickey Stines in his capacity as sheriff. Ned Pillersdorf described what the defense might do as a time to kill defense, invoking the John Grisham novel that was made into a movie. The whole idea that maybe Judge Mullins had to die. That's the idea. Not saying it's true one way or the other, but that's something that Mr. Pillersdorf brought up. Now, tonight, what I want to do, once again, this is always a conversation, guys. So do your best. Put GF in your comment if you want me to see your comment. For example, Tanya's saying, love the hat. I put on the hat because I have horrible hat head because I've been out in the cold all day long. It is about 400,000 degrees below zero in Western Pennsylvania. It is so cold. And just as I was getting up to get ready for this, I was going to go not in the shower, in the bathroom, do my hair. But for some reason, my bathroom is being occupied by one of my children. So put on the hat. Hope you guys are okay with it. Tanya is. But put GF in your comment, and that will help me to see it. Okay. Oh, and Robin Bernardi says, hey, Gavin, just to follow up NAG, to make sure you messaged Beth. Robin, I did message Beth, but it was because I was reminded by my amazing team, including my mod Autumn, the administrators of the fish tank over on Facebook, Jamie, Pat. So yes, I messaged Beth. Hopefully we're going to have her on. Hopefully this week. She hasn't responded yet. We'll see. Okay. But yes, I have. Thank you, Robin. Thank you very much. See how putting a GF in that comment helped me to see it. Okay. Now, in a strange, I don't know if I'd call it a twist. Let's call it a turn of events. In a strange turn of events, Mickey Stines, who is being represented by the husband and wife duo of the Bartleys, attorneys at law, one of his attorneys, Jeremy Bartley, went on TV to discuss the case, which is, it's a lot less normal than you'd think because we live in a true crime bubble, you and I. We live in a bubble where we see things like this happen all the time, but this does not happen very often. Mr. Bartley went on to Crime Fix with Anjanette Levy on Law and Crime and talked about his client. And I think there's some interesting stuff in here, guys. I watched it. It's about, 8-9 minutes long. And I want to watch it with you. We'll pause it along the way. We're going to comment on it a little bit along the way. And we'll definitely take your comments over in the live chat. Okay, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get going. I want to be able to make sure that I can see if you guys are getting sound. Here we go.
I want to bring in Jeremy Bartley. He
Looks like it.
represents Mickey Stines in this case. So I want you to kind of break down, Jeremy, what exactly you're looking for here with the criminal responsibility evaluation. I mean, is this something?
Here I go. Already pausing. What we are in 15 seconds, but I just realized that I didn't do a very good job of introducing the clip. Okay, Mr. Stines, with his attorneys, made an appearance at a little status conference last week, and in that conference, his attorneys, the Bartleys, asked for a criminal responsibility examination. And the judge said, well, why don't we go ahead and go to, mental capacity or whatever it was. And they're like, we really don't care about that so much. What we want to know is he criminally responsible for what he did? Anyway, so that's what Anjanette Levy is talking about here.
That you would present to a jury, or would this be something that would be evaluated?
Let's back up. Go back to the beginning. Here we go.
I want to bring in Jeremy Bartley. He represents Mickey Stines in this case. So I want you to kind of break down, Jeremy, what exactly you're looking for here with the criminal responsibility evaluation. I mean, is this something that you would present to a jury, or would this be something that would be evaluated pre-trial?
Well, it has the potential to be both. So basically, we are required, if we intend to rely in part or in whole on a mental health defense.
Bang. Okay. So he is signaling that they are going to rely in part or in whole on a mental health defense here. I'm sure you guys caught that, but yeah, okay.
Concerning criminal responsibility, then once we are confident that we can announce our intention to use that as part of our defense, and we have retained our expert, then the Commonwealth of Kentucky has the opportunity to have Mr. Stines evaluated by their expert. And at this point, KCPC there's a huge backlog of cases in the state of Kentucky. And so normally this might be something that we would wait a little bit longer on, but in the interest of trying to expedite this case, we have presented Mickey for examination now.
The Commonwealth seemed a little surprised by this. It sounds like they kind of expected the competency exam request, which is different. Competency determines whether or not your client can assist in his own defense. Sure. But you said it was a joint motion. So explain to me kind of why they seemed sort of taken off guard there.
Yeah, and I don't want to speak for the Commonwealth, but I have spoken with Mr. Still after. I think potentially there was a misunderstanding between the two of us, but I will say that we have not had a reason to believe that he is not competent. And so competency for the viewers is, that's an examination of whether he's able to understand the nature of the proceedings and whether he's able to assist us in preparing his case for trial. It concerns only the now.
That's interesting. Regarding competence, some people say competency and competence. The trial would go forward whether or not the defendant was competent. Just if he's not competent, then it's up to the attorneys, I guess, to present the defense, to defend him. If he is competent, then he can assist in his own defense. But that's not what they're talking about here. And they don't even have any sort of argument over whether he's competent or not. They're like, yeah, he's competent. We don't care about that so much. We want to know if he's criminally liable or criminally responsible. Now, Contentessa says, Gavin, are you of the opinion that the sheriff is a hero and had no idea what was happening and acted to serve justice? Or was he part of it? Less people who could attest to the crimes. I grapple with this. I don't know, Contentessa. I really don't. And unfortunately, Judge Mullins isn't around to tell us his opinion of it. Mickey Stines, I mean, it's possible that his argument is going to be, I did it because it had to be done, or I did it because I was afraid for my life, or I did it because I was afraid for the life of my loved one. I was defending myself. It's possible. And let's not forget that Mr. Pillersdorf had Mickey Stines at a deposition. I think September 19th was a Thursday, the day that Judge Mullins was killed. I think it was a Thursday. The prior Monday, Mickey Stines was being deposed in that civil rights lawsuit, and Mr. Pillersdorf described him as like odd. I can't remember the exact word, but he was acting strangely. And he described what he expected him to act like. People in law enforcement tend to be a little bit combative. They have experience with the legal system, so they're not really all that nervous, right? And Mr. Pillersdorf was saying none of that. So, was he part of it? And he's trying to like clear everybody away that could attest to the crime? I don't even think that, because there are much better ways to go about getting rid of somebody rather than shooting them with your service pistol on camera. I mean, even if he didn't know there was a camera in the room, you're in the courthouse. You are in the judge's chamber. There are going to be the report of gunfire. Bang, 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 bang. You'll hear the percussion. People in the courthouse would hear it, right? It's not a good way to get rid of, I guess, co-conspirators, I guess. So probably not.
Where is he at today in terms of his ability to understand those things and to participate? Whereas criminal responsibility, that examination focuses on the time of the alleged acts. And so what we said in court is that I have no reason at this point to believe that he's unable to assist us. I believe that he understands the nature of the proceedings. But I do believe that his defense will in part rely upon a mental health defense.
In the Commonwealth of Kentucky, the statute is very clear. A person is not responsible for criminal conduct if at the time of such conduct, as a result of mental illness or intellectual disability, he lacks substantial capacity either to appreciate the criminality of his conduct or to conform his conduct to the requirements of law. We saw the body camera footage that was released that we obtained earlier this month. Your client seemed very paranoid. In this footage, he's asking where they're taking him, all of this stuff. It almost sounded like he was afraid they were going to take him in the woods somewhere and do something to him, or that he was going to be taken somewhere. I mean, did he feel an imminent threat? And was it because of this loss?
Let me pause there. This is a great question by Anjanette Levy. Obviously, she's a professional. She's good at her job. But let me real quick look to North Carolina nurse. Gavin, what is your opinion on the defense speaking to the media about the case? I find it so strange. I don't recall ever seeing this happen. I mean, it happens from time to time for sure. It happens. But as a reporter, if I'm going into some sort of criminal proceeding, I will usually have some sort of identification on that identifies me as a reporter. Plus, where I live, everybody knows that I am, who I am. But I will typically go up to the defense counsel at some point. I'll see them in the hall, in the courtroom. I will see them, or I'll flag them down before court proceedings begin near the bar, and I will introduce myself. And I will usually say something like, hey, my name is Gavin Fish. I'm with EYT Media. I want you to know that I'm here. If you want to talk, great. If you don't want to talk, also great. Just let me know. And it's atypical for a lawyer to go, hey, yeah, let's talk. Atypical. I mean, they usually will say, I don't have any comment on this, right? And if the lawyer is a friend of mine, they will typically go, hey, Gavin, good to see you. You know, how's so-and-so? How you doing? Good. Okay. I'm not going to comment on this case. That is the main thing that happens almost all the time. I don't, as a consumer of true crime media, I love it when they when they do talk, but as a analyst of whether this is good or not for their client, I don't like it. I don't think that they should do it. Having said that, they want to stay in Letcher County. They definitely want to stay in Letcher County, and anything that he can do to just kind of make everybody, I guess, comfortable with the idea that Mickey Stines had a good reason to kill Judge Mullins. I think that's what he's doing. However, if I were to argue against that, what I would say is he's making it less likely that they are going to be able to do the trial in Letcher County by talking to the media. So, I mean, it's just, I don't know. Remember, when we talked with Elizabeth Jones from Hillbilly Crime, guys, check out Hillbilly Crime. She's a small up and coming channel and she's awesome. Check her out. She would say stuff like, I find it so hard to even believe that Mickey wouldn't have done, or that Mickey would have done this without a good reason. I'm paraphrasing, right? But she is a resident of Letcher County. She knows Mickey Stines. She knows Judge Mullins. And so she's a good emblem of what the general mood is there in Letcher County, and they all seem to be on his side. All right, enough talk from me. Here we go. Great question, though, North Carolina. Thank you.
Suit, about the sex in the courthouse and all of these allegations.
If you'd like a one-word answer, yes.
Should we go back
yes,
just a little bit to remember the question?
It almost sounded like he was afraid they were going to take him in the woods somewhere and do something to him, or that he was going to be taken somewhere. I mean, did he feel an imminent threat? And was it because of this lawsuit, about the sex in the courthouse and all of these allegations?
If you'd like a one-word answer, yes. Yes, he did feel threatened. In the
By
days
Judge
leading
Mullins?
up, he felt threatened by. I'm not going to say specifically who, but at this point, but he was concerned about if he said the wrong thing or if he had already said something that could cause people to want to retaliate against him, to cause harm to him or his family. Yes, he did feel that there was an imminent threat. And
he felt there was an imminent threat to himself or his family, is what I just heard.
Is it related to the deposition? Well, in large part.
The deposition that he's talking about is the Monday deposition, 4 days prior, by Ned Pillersdorf.
Yes. And there were a variety of things that were happening there in the area of the courthouse that I think a lot of people wanted to keep secret. And, I think we're starting to see, as you've reported, and about some of the things that were behind the veil were not operated the way they should be.
All right, let me just pause there, okay? Just so we're all on the same page. Mr. Ben Fields, who was once Deputy Ben Fields, he pleaded guilty to and was convicted of the R word, basically the SA of women at the Letcher County Jail, which is in the basement of the Letcher County Courthouse. Okay? And the lawsuit that Mr. Pillersdorf filed on behalf of his clients, Sabrina Adkins and Jennifer Hill, it alleged that Mr. Benfields did do those things and that Mickey Stines, as the sheriff, knew or should have known what was going on. Now, if we just listening to Mr. Bartley over here, he's saying there were things happening at the courthouse that people behind the scenes didn't want to come out. Now, it is already out that this guy was SAing at least this woman, and one other. He was convicted of it. There's no allegation here. He was convicted of it, right? In fact, this is his sexual predator registration photo. He's a registered sex offender. Okay, so Mr. Bartley is saying there's more, or there might be more. I'm just going to back up just a little bit, and here we go.
And I think we're starting to see, as you've reported, and about some of the things that were behind the veil were not operated the way they should be.
There's been some reporting out there by another outlet. There have been some people who've floated some theories to us that even though, Mickey Stines was obviously, as the sheriff, named in this lawsuit as the sheriff, that he was somehow involved in all of this with the sex in the courthouse somehow. Was Sheriff Stines, as the sheriff, involved with the sex for favors in the courthouse?
The civil suit, the only reason that our client was named in the civil suit, and we're not representing him in that, but he was named solely as the sheriff. And the allegation in that case was solely that he failed to train this Ben Fields, who was convicted of having these sexual relations with people on pretrial release in the same chambers where these acts occurred. But I've not seen any allegation concerning my client in that case that relates to those allegations, and I've not seen anything that substantiates anything of that nature against our client.
Is there anything else that you can reveal to us?
So his position, that was very lawyerly answered. It was answered in a very lawyerly manner. Let's put it that way. Like, I haven't seen anything that beyond the allegations, there's nothing that it's possible that he was involved. He's just saying, I haven't seen anything other than the allegations in the lawsuit that said that he failed to train Mr. Fields. That was a very lawyerly answer. And I'm not putting him down. With respect, that was well-crafted, lawyerly answer.
It's about what was going on in that courthouse and why he felt threatened that day.
Well, I just think there are a lot of things that he certainly would have been privy to, had been made aware of, and I think that there was a concern that what he might say in that deposition could be harmful to others. I think that this caused him severe distress. And I think you see a person in the body cam footage that you have, you see a person who is completely aware of, and I think that there was a concern that what he might say in that deposition could be harmful to others.
Concerned that anything that he said in that deposition could be harmful to others. But I'm curious what you guys think about that statement. Oh, he was concerned that anything that came out in that deposition could be harmful to others. Does that mean he's protecting people who are innocent of stuff that it might be harmful to, or that it might be harmful to guilty folks? That's my question there.
And I think that this caused him severe distress. And I think you see a person in the body cam footage that you see a person who is completely outside of themselves, outside of the normal way that people were used to seeing the sheriff. And, and
And that is something that Elizabeth Jones from Hillbilly Crime has vocalized as well. Like this wasn't Mickey.
the days leading up to that deposition and the days following that deposition, he was he was looking around every corner. He had every reason to believe that there was a threat to his wife and daughter.
So in the days leading up to that deposition, and in the days after the deposition, his lawyer, Mr. Bartley, says he's looking around every corner, and he believes that his wife and daughter are in danger. So I guess that answers my question from earlier. I guess putting innocent lives in danger. Maybe that's why he was so distressed.
Heard the testimony at the preliminary hearing that our client's statement was they were going to take or kidnap my wife and daughter. And that was a very real threat that the sheriff felt. And so I think that it's important to understand that while this is not a whodunit case, you have a video, there was a shooting, but there's a real husband, a real father, and a real human who was placed in a absolutely very delicate situation.
Well, we will stay tuned. Jeremy Bartley, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
End of the part of the video that I prepared for y'all. Let's bring up Judge Mullins. Let's not forget this. I mean, it's possible, and one of the things that keeps coming up in my mind is that Judge Mullins was part of this. But he is not here in order to defend that allegation, right? Or that I'm not alleging that he was. I'm just saying that if that allegation were to come out, he can't defend himself because he is the victim of being killed. And I think homicide or murder is a good way to say it, but legally was Mickey Stines justified making it not a killing or not a homicide or murder, but just a justified killing, I guess. It would still be homicide. But I don't know. Let's start going through your thoughts here. Remember, put GF in your comments so that I can see it. Cooler by the Lake, Gavin, do we know if a talk screen was done on Mickey after his arrest? I don't think that we do know that. Very little of the evidence of this case has come out, unlike cases like Madeline Soto, right? Or Michael Francis Miller. Very little has come out on this. I would imagine with the way that he was speaking and behaving, that they would have wanted to rule out some kind of chemical intoxication. So I bet that I bet he did, but I don't know. Zach in Florida says, Gavin, I always get a kick out of hearing about criminal responsibility assessments. Aren't jury trials criminal responsibility assessments? What a great question. Yeah. Well, I think what they're doing is they're looking for an expert to opine whether or not that expert believes if there was criminal responsibility, so that in the great criminal responsibility assessment before a jury, they could present an expert on that. But that's a great that's a great observation, Zach. And I always love your comments. They always come in great. Rachel Mead, Gavin, lol, that is my thought on this. Maybe I'm missing something, but I don't understand if he was scared for his family. Why didn't he go to the FBI? It really must be a mental issue. I mean, so I'm trying to think of my argument to support what you're saying and my argument to tear it apart, right? Like a good debater should be able to do that. I do not say of myself that I'm a good debater, but going through kind of the exercise here, if he thought his family was in danger, why didn't he go to the FBI? First off, I don't think there was a federal crime here. I don't think that he would say, I'm going to the FBI. The FBI would be what's the federal crime? So then why wouldn't he go to, because remember, like, the feds only have jurisdiction over federal crimes. Murder is hardly ever a federal crime. Hardly ever. It only if the murderer crosses state lines. It's hardly ever federal. It's always on the state level. So if he was concerned for his family, what I would do as a person concerned for the safety and well-being of my family is I would get my family out of Dodge. Maybe it goes to his mental health, to maybe him not being able to reason that out is it goes to his mental health at the time. Great comment, Rachel. Let's see. Gavin, is he going to the media for the jury? It feels like it to me. Talking about Mr. Bartley? Yeah, it does feel like it to me. Royal Order of the Frank. A Royal Order of the Frank, I have asked this at least once, okay? I've asked this at least once. Let me get my face nice and big here for a second. How does one join the Royal Order of the Frank? Put GF in your comments so that I won't miss it. I want to know how one joins that royal order. Is it birthright only? Do I have to be born into the royal order? Could I be inducted or invited into the royal order? You got to tell me. Okay. Frank says, Gavin, could be going for defense of impaired mental emotional capacity at the time of the crime due to stress to being asked to withhold evidence in the other case and potentially being also drugged. Yeah, so Elizabeth, about the drugged thing, Elizabeth was like, I can't imagine Mickey Stines taking drugs on purpose. So did somebody, if there was something in his system, was it given to him? Okay. Number two, due to the stress of being asked to withhold evidence. Well, okay, I see what your argument is, that the other co-conspirators, let's say, are saying don't talk, don't say anything, because if we all just shut up, then it all goes away. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, it could be. Now, I told you guys that just a couple months ago, I think it was in October, I sat in the gallery watching a jury trial in my neck of the woods in a neighboring county, and that was their argument was that the man had suffered a psychotic or a schizophrenic break, and he had a long history of schizophrenia, and the jury didn't buy it. I think most of us kind of reason in our mind, you can't be in your right mind and murder somebody. There's got to be something wrong with you, but that doesn't excuse things. So I think the not criminal responsible because of some sort of mental impairment, or what do they call that? Legal insanity. I don't think juries like that very much. That's a very hard defense. Could be, though. Gavin, since Dan Abrams hired Ann Jeanette and remains her boss, that shows me he has confidence in her journalistic capabilities and also asks good legal questions. No, she's terrific. She's amazing. Larry says, Gavin, if they keep it in Letcher County, will Mickey be transferred to and from the jail he's in now or moved to Letcher? That all boils down to the judge. That is all at the judge's discretion. It doesn't seem to me like Leslie County is very far away. And remember, okay, for those of you who do not live in rural places, I live in a rural place, okay? To go anywhere, it takes an hour. We have grocery stores that we can go to, but if you want to go to the Costco, it's an hour. If you want to go to the movies, it's an hour. If you want to, I don't know, go putt, it's an hour. Everything's an hour. So Leslie County being an hour away for a rural community, that does not mean much at all. I was talking to a producer today about heading to Philadelphia for uh, the the potential Ellen Greenberg trial next week, and I said, yeah, it's 6 hours away. He's like, ooh, man, that's a long way away. I'm like, no, it's not. It's doable. I can go there and back every single day and still be okay doing it because we're just kind of used to it. So yeah, I think if it were in Letcher County, I think they'd keep him in Leslie County. That's what I think. But it's really up to the judge, not up to me or you. New England Coast. Gavin, from all reports, this was so unlike Mickey Stines. Something going on. Something was going on mentally. Yeah, that's what it seems like to me too. I just wonder if a jury will buy that. Oh, got my leaning tower of boxes falling in my office. Guys, got so many Amazon packages today. Okay, Autumn says, Gavin, I really think he thought the police were going to handle the situation. I'm sure all the officers knew the judge. Okay, I really think he thought the police were going to handle the situation. As in, like, off him or something? I guess I'm not following Autumn. I'm a little thick today. Been out in the cold all day. So let me know. Man, I just refreshed. I have to go up. Okay. Patty also thinks I have a nice hat. Thank you. BL Gavin, what is the time frame of the Jennifer Field? Let's see. Are you talking about Jennifer Hill? It was not. I don't think that it was ruled anything but accidental. Okay, so what is the time frame of Jennifer Field's death? Let's say, and the time of the judge's shooting. Maybe Mickey Stines thought something like this was going to happen to his family. Okay, yeah, that I see what you're saying. I actually I looked it up. Let me see. Give me a second here. Let's see if I can find it here real quick. That's Louisville. Let's see. Here we are. So Jennifer Hill died in January of 2023. January of 2023. So it was almost 2 years. It was a year and 9 months from the time that she died. Now, the lawsuit, the civil rights lawsuit, was filed in September of 2022. So Jennifer Hill died October, November, December, January, 4 months after the lawsuit was filed. And her death didn't stop her part in the lawsuit. I don't think that anybody believes that Jennifer Hill was unalived, was killed because of the lawsuit. I think she accidentally overdosed. But I mean, feel free to disagree with me. Lee says, Gavin, my take on this is that Stines has knowledge of guilty people's acts and is afraid his family could be harmed because nefarious stuff is coming to light because of the lawsuits. Okay, that's a good take. Mooney says, Stines sure came into Mullins' office with conviction and completed the task he set out to do. Yeah, the whole thing, and I should bring up, give me a second. I should bring up the video. Get it to a place where it'll show on my on my screen. Are you guys screaming at your computers right now? Gavin, why aren't you prepared? Let's go to this one. Okay. He has, look, during that whole, his gun is not holstered right now. It is in his hand. Do you see that right there? And the fact that he sat there, cigarette in one hand and other hand up with what looks like, coffee cup in front of him. And Elizabeth Jones says he's a person who packed. Like, he would have been armed in that situation. The fact that he wasn't drawing. If a person has a gun in their hand, I don't care if they're not pointing it at you. They're threatening your life. And it's shocking to me that he sat there, put up his hands. No, listen. Oh, man. Yeah. He definitely had conviction. He's ready to do it for sure, Mooney. Great comment. All right, I'm just gonna pause it right there. Okay. Let's go back to your comments. Zach says the feds can assert jurisdiction with RICO. Yeah. So the organized crime would be that many people in the Letcher County, powerful elite, let's call them, were conspiring with one another to commit crimes. Okay, possible. Gavin must be named Truthful or Frank. Royal Lord of the Frank says, Gavin, I'm sorry. I've been meaning to email you, but you really don't want to join. I would like to be given the option, sir. I would like to be given the option. So please do email me and tell me all about what the induction ceremony entails. I will make the decision, sir, with respect of whether or not I want to join the Royal Order of the Frank. All right. That's funny. What happened in the deposition can put people in danger, and he may be paranoid now after being arrested for murder. Okay. Lula Ruger. Gavin, this is such a bizarre case. It is. New England Coast, Gavin, Mickey knew it would be harmful to some important people. Okay. Gavin, have you heard of Jarvis Butts out of Detroit and the missing 13-year-old niece? Yes. I was just talking about this. Autumn brought this to my attention a few days ago, and then Jamie and Pat brought it to my attention today. We are going to get into that later this week, and I am hoping that Beth Meeks might join me in that conversation. Thanks for bringing it up, Sandra. That we will be doing that. If you're not subscribed and you want our take or our conversation about, I don't remember how to pronounce her name right now, Nazara. Oh man, it is tragic. So please subscribe if you want to hear what we have to say about that. A couple more. Gavin, the defense objected to only a clip of the video being shown. Mickey might not have made up in his mind to do the deed until he got some confirmation of something. Yeah, it is the prosecution's prerogative, though, in those preliminary hearings. They don't have to show the whole thing. Now, to a jury, they won't show a clip. They will show the entire thing. The entire thing. And great comment. You guys are awesome. All right. Rachel says, Gavin, it's so crazy that you have a sheriff killing a judge. It makes me want to look up throughout history how many times this has happened in our country. Reminds me of the Wild West. Yeah. So it does feel like the Wild West sometimes in our country right now, doesn't it? Corlin Adams, the trial will be on hold until the defendant is competent. They don't just have the lawyers do the trial without someone deemed incompetent. I don't think so. no, I think that there might be delays because of incompetence, but they won't indefinitely postpone the trial. I do not think so. Will the sheriff testify or let the expert on criminal responsibility do it? I have not seen any defendant testify on their own behalf successfully. Lee says Nazia Harris. That's right. That's right. Thank you, Lee. Lulu Ruger, he had to have known he would be caught, or he just didn't care. Oh yeah, he was in the courthouse. Rachel saying, I always learn so much listening to your channel. Thank you. Well, listen, everything that I say, take with a grain of salt. Trust but confirm. Be very Ronald Reagan about it, okay? Guys, tomorrow we are going to the Corey Richins case, okay? There have been several motions. There has been a hearing about which evidence is going to be allowed in the case. This is going to be a technical kind of discussion about this case. I was talking to somebody today, again, about having a guest that's an expert on this case. This is a case that is really kind of hits close to home to me because this happened in like my actual hometown. Like where I was born and not raised, right? Where my grandparents were born. This is where this happened. And so Summit County is special to me. Summit County, Utah. I consider it my home, though I was raised in California and now have adopted a hometown out here in Western Pennsylvania. The Corey Richins case is a doozy of a case. So that is what we're going to be doing tomorrow. Please set your watches. We are going to be doing it a little bit later. It's not going to be at 7:30. It's going to be at 8 because I have a little music concert to go to at Ye Ol Elementary School for the kiddos who are in music. So it's going to be a little bit later tomorrow than normal. But please come back 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern time and let's talk about this one. The walk the dog litter is the dumbest thing, and criminals do these sorts of things all the time. I just like if we weren't talking about dead man, because there's a victim here. This would be a comedy, but unfortunately it's not. This is very, very real. So please join me tomorrow. Hey, I wanted to show you one other quick thing. Let me make sure that check this out. We're at 109,803 subscribers in this little community of ours, guys. We're coming so close to 110,000. And that just, I can't even tell you how much that tickles me. And I feel gratitude for you every single day. Thank you very much for joining me here on YouTube on my little true crime journey. I deeply, deeply appreciate it. Hey, while we're over here, let me remind you, we have eclipsed 3,400 members in the Fish Tank. It's a great little community where we talk about true crime, the cases that I'm covering, and others. It's not just about promoting me, it's about talking about true crime. So please join us over there. One last thing before we go, looks like Rachel, thank you very much for the super chat. I deeply appreciate that. You guys support me in so many ways, and I thank you for it. Like I said, I was talking to a producer earlier today and talking about what my thoughts are for the future for the channel and how I'm going to hopefully be transitioning from full-time employment plus YouTube to YouTube plus part-time employment to ultimately just YouTube. And it's only because of you who makes it possible. So thank you very, very much. With that, I bid you adieu, and I will see you tomorrow night. Take care. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below.